You're listening to Question Reality. Question Reality with Priscilla Leona. Priscilla Leona.
Hi, welcome to the show again. Another week. Can you believe today is February the 26th? We are almost out of February days. We're almost into March. It has come, it's going, but very exciting thing happened. Saturday was my husband's birthday. It was so fantastic. If you know me, and you do, because I've been doing this show for 20 years, you know I love my parties and I love to throw theme parties. So I'm always doing like a 50s, a 60s, a 70s, a 80, this party, that. Well, I decided to do a monochromatic party for my husband because you know he loves the Beatles. We've talked about this. And I said, we'll do songs from the White Album and the Black Album. Well, people were texting me like I was insane. What? They never had a Black Album. Blah, 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 blah. So I had to correct them and say, well, they did not. However, Ethan Hawke created the Black Album in his movie Boyhood, which if you've not seen that, it's fantastic. I have never seen a movie where they start the movie as children and they purposely go for years until the kids end up being 21 years old. Well, anyway, in the movie, Ethan Hawke creates his own mixtape of songs that he puts together from all their albums, and he called it the Black Album. It caught on, and now there is not technically, a Black Album. So we did a monochromatic theme. Everyone was in black and white. We had a favorite Beatles contest. All the food was black and white, and the drinks and everything was black and white. And it turned out so well. Albert loved it. We did all Beatles music. We were twisting and shouting and rocking and rolling. Rocky Raccoon made an appearance. It was fantastic. So wish you could have been there. All right. So first I want to start by thanking you for tuning in to another week of Question Reality. And I just want to tell you a couple people that are coming up because I don't want you to miss these shows. And we have on March the 4th, Lady Smith Black Mambaza. She is the band, let's just say the band, that's the name of the band, is a 5-time Grammy winner. I am so excited beyond belief. And I ran into someone at the party who actually knows them and has performed with them. So you don't want to miss that. So if you're pursuing a career in music or you have a band or you want to pursue a vocal career, we are going to get the scoop for you. And then we have on March 18th, we have a lady named Saba Moore Doucette. Now, this woman, I met her because, as you know, I'm a judge and of film festivals and a screener. And we had one in Arizona. And I met this lady. I thought she was maybe 32, 33 years old. She's 81 years old. She's a sports and fitness model. Oh, my God, she looked better than every woman in there. Oh, I better not say that. Well, she was looking really good. Oh, my gosh. So she's this fitness model. She has her own brand of products. She's got it rocking and rolling. Everything is happening for this lady. And she has no aches, no creaks, no aches, no pains. She is living her best life. And I had to have her on the show. So I highly recommend, if you need inspiration, motivation, if you're bitching and whining and complaining and moaning about your life, you have got to tune into this lady. That, again, is March the 18th. Then we have in April, there's so many people, you know me, I'm always booked a year in advance, but I'm only going to do a couple because I really don't want you to miss this. We have Bernie Martin, who is another referral from the wonderful Beatrice Davis, who I swear she has the best people that she refers as guests on my show. He is a celebrity fashion designer. he was, I think he designed some clothing for the Oscars a couple years ago. He's a fantastic man. You'll love him. And then we have one of my favorite friends. He's an A-list casting director. He was the one who cast for Modern Family. Remember that sitcom that was on? I think it lasted 8 or 9 years. He's coming on April the 8th. And if you're an aspiring actor, you don't want to miss this show, because he will tell you what to do and what not to do in front of casting directors when you go for the big auditions. And on April the 15th, Tax Day, we have one of my favorite people in the whole world. She is probably the last time she was on my show, she had 4 Emmys. Now I think she has more than that. She's a primetime director. You name the sitcoms and the shows, she's done them. I think her I think she's working right now on the Miss Pat show, which is a sitcom. And then she was doing NCIS New Orleans, and you name it. So if you, again, are an aspiring actor, you don't want to miss that, because she gives really great advice and she tells it like it is. So I love that. And then, oh my God, back by popular demand. Okay. If you watch American Idol, you'll know this man. Okay, so he was on there for 16 seasons, from the beginning all the way up 16 years. His name is Michael Orland. He was one of the musical directors, vocal coach for all of the people on there. And he's going to be coming on. And I don't want to tell what he's going to be doing, but it's very exciting, because I don't think you'll watch the show I think he's on tour with Kristen Chenoweth right now, but don't quote me on it. They either just finished but what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose 2 songs, and he doesn't know who they are. He doesn't know he's never heard them. And I'm going to play them on the air, and I'm going to get him to critique them. And that's going to be very exciting for the 2 people to get a critique by one of the best in the business, because this man is just wonderful, fantastic. So next week, I'll go into the guests that we're having for May and June. Again, I always book a year in advance, but now I'm switching it up, and I'm only doing it until June, because you know what was happening. I was booking people for the whole year, and by the time it was their turn to come on, they were touring on tour if they were a band, or they were filming in another country. So up until June, and that's it. Which leads me into the last part of my little monologue. Would you really call this a monologue? I'm not sure. We'll just call it a monologue. If you have not tuned into the show before, this is the Question Reality Radio Show. And what our platform is, we're here in LA, just doing it live. And I'm, of course, Priscilla Leona, the creator and the producer and the host. And we have in the Batman Cave, we have the executive technical director, Albert Bico. And let me see. Yeah, for now. And then I have an assistant, but she doesn't like her name to be cast all over the air. So we'll have to watch her say. Now, for over 20 years, we've been providing our listeners with entertainment. I can't talk. It's like I've had 4 cocktails. We have been providing our audience with entertainment industry career advice. Now, this show is for you if you are questioning your career reality. You could be sitting in your administrative job, and you think, I could be a star. I could be this. I want to, and you can do it. And here is where you're going to get tips. I'm going to tell you who's going to be giving them too. But also, if you're already working in the entertainment industry and you just need a little advice to elevate your career, and the guests that we have on this show, Oscar nominees, we have Emmy winners, Grammy winners, Tony Award winners. We have reality TV stars. We have film, TV, music directors, producers, casting directors, talent agents. We have PR agents, talent managers, publicists, film critics. I had to write it down. There's so many I can never remember. We have screenwriters and authors. And the list just goes on and on. Bands, singers, you name it. And it it. Oh, and we do bring entertainment lawyers on around December, which seems to be a great time to get advice for the new year. And if you're working in the entertainment industry, I'm going to lasso you down. I'm coming for you, get you on the show to help the audience, help the people. Now, if you missed any of our past shows, here are some ways you can watch. The website, questionrealityradioshow.com, questionrealityradioshow.com, Facebook at questionrealityradioshow.com, social media. It's where we get we just change it up just a little bit. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, or X at Priscilla Leona. And every week, I tell you, it is so very important that you keep your branding consistent. I recently ran into someone and, he's fabulous. He is a natural performer. He's good looking. He's talented. He's got like 4 or 5 different names going on. And I said to him, please, one name, if you can keep it, because you got to start branding yourself. Of course, if it's a film, you can have your name and the film, or a book, of course, it's going to be separate, but try to keep the name if you can, possibly if you're an actor or a singer or someone that you need to identify with your name, because people have a 5-second attention span. They go on Google and they type you, and if they can't find you, or you have something cute like I'm hot pink polka dot brandy love at something.com, that they are gone. You have lost a huge part of your audience. So every A-list casting director that comes on here stresses that. Every Grammy winner, every Oscar nominee, they say keep it consistent when you're starting out and get your branding. Now, favor we would like to ask, if you watch this show and you absolutely love the guest, or you love the show, or you love the platform, please subscribe. Everybody needs a little thumb, a little subscribe. Everything is about subscribing and giving a thumb, a finger, something. So we would ask that you help us out, because that's the way it works now. And we will return that favor in kind. We will see that you have subscribed or liked us, and we will do it back for you. Now, if you want to come on the show and just give sage advice to people out there in the wide world, you can do that. Go to the website, questionrealityradioshow.com. Go to the contact page. It's very simple. We just need your name, your email, your title, and then you will be on your way to being vetted to come on the show and promote your products. Just come on. If you gotta move yourself, motivate yourself. This is only the second month of the year. The way I look at life is you have 365 days, and every day you can write towards your chapter. You can write in your book of life. So it's not too late. Again, go to questionrealityradioshow.com. Look at the 2024 schedule. It has all of the upcoming guests until June. And if you see a profession that you're interested in, well, there you go. You can tune in and find out all the tips and advice. That's it. Now we're on to the exciting part. I have to do my spiel. I have to do it. Okay. So the guest that we have on today, if you watched, well, actually, no. If you saw the post on the social media pages, or you got an email, you know that this man is so gorgeous. He's a gorgeous man. He's really a hot guy. He's really attractive. And that usually doesn't mean anything to today in our PC world. But remember, I'm prior to the PC era. So if I see a good looking man, you know I'm going to be pointing him out. So it always helps. It doesn't hurt. But he, very impressive. Let's just a little tiny bit about him. So he has spent over 25 years sending millions of viewers to can I talk? Do I need a cocktail to be able to speak properly is the question I'm asking right now. Let's start again. Take 2. John, I'm reading this. That's why if I'm a natural speaker, it's no problem. It's only when I try to read, I can't see. I got 4 eyes and I still can't see. Okay. Jonathon has spent over 25 years. Look at that. Didn't I tell you? Look at that little hottie. That's a little hottie. Jonathon has spent over 25 years sending millions of viewers to digital video content, and he has been driving audiences to OTT networks like Tubi, Pluto, and just more. And he is the former head of marketing for MGM, Stars Movie Channel, and founder of Ripe TV and Apricot Corp, tomato. He believes all good marketing, and I really agree with him wholeheartedly. He believes all good marketing starts with good relationships, and relationships with super fans, audiences, distribution platforms, and content creators are what makes for successful brand awareness, monetization, and growth. And that's absolutely true. I mean, who doesn't know that? If you're running a business, you're starting a business, if you want to be a business owner, that's like the basic things you should know. If you don't, there's YouTube. All right. Now, the company is a little bit about the company bio. Okay. So Best Ever Channels is a TV digital syndication studio, developer of original FAST, F-A-S-T, and AVOD, A-V-O-D, channel brands, and also a distributor of original and licensed streaming entertainment. And Best Ever Channels unites audiences with the content they love. Now, don't you love that he does that? Well, yes. We are all seeking that in our streaming services. They're not just a creator of fast channels for built-in and loyal fandoms. They also develop original programming produced by established creators, not just, a lot of times you watch these particular channels, which I will not name, and you see things and you say, how did that get on there? I do not know what's happening. But they have established creators, which is very important if you can get them. They might be expensive, but if you can get them, why not? And they have them, of course, to meet the demands of today's growing AVOD and FAST platforms. Now, if you don't know what they are, we are going to start really from the basics with Jonathon and have him explain what those things mean. So don't you worry about it. Don't you fret, because you might want to start your own digital streaming platform and become a competitor. So without further ado, let's get that little hot potato on here. Where is he? Where is he? There he is. Oh, with his own built-in blur background.
Wow.
We don't know how we got it, right, Jonathan? It just appeared.
That's right. I come with a blur.
Don't we all? All right. So let's start out, because a lot of people were wondering, and I've come into this, I've had people on my show before that talk about these particular pop words or keywords, and they don't really know what it is. So I feel like we should start from the beginning. Fast channels. You say on your website, we build and program fast channels for today's leading streaming platforms. Pretend I was born in the woods and I'm like, what the hell's a fast channel, Jonathan? No, what is a fast channel?
Well, Priscilla, let me tell you.
Oh, you got it.
I got you there. Oh, yeah.
You can hang. All right.
FAST stands for free ad-supported TV. It's more of an industry term than a consumer term, so you're not alone. Many consumers don't really know what FAST means, but you are watching them probably, or could be. Most people are. In fact, Nielsen, according to a year and a half ago, said more people are watching fast channels than cable or satellite anymore. And what that means is if you have any TV set these days, Samsung, Vizio, LG, doesn't matter. They all have a selection of 150 up to 300, 400 channels for free that you turn on and they're playing. It's like cable in the 80s. You know,
Mm.
there's something playing and there's 500 channels, 300 channels to select from. And those are what we call fast channels. So they're linear. Something's playing different every, 9 o'clock's one thing, 10 o'clock's another thing. This channel
Ah,
plays this, that channel plays that.
okay.
And so the TV sets all have these fast channels. And then also Roku is probably the most recognized platform that carries fast channels. So all those channels on Roku that are playing the Roku channel itself that plays linearly, those are called fast
And
versus AVOD, which is
okay,
advertising video on demand.
that was on my list. That was I was going. What? Oh, okay. The next word that threw me for a big old loop was tentpole brands, and you had music, comedy, personal empowerment. So give me some examples of that, because I don't know, like, if you could associate it with some shows so that we could say, that's what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. So tent poles hold up a tent. So those are the categories of content that we have, in fact, multiple channels, or will launch multiple channels in. So comedy is easy. Comedy, we have a channel called Wits, and it's launched in conjunction with the Stand in New York. The Stand is now the biggest venue in New York for comedy. They represent a lot of comedians. They work with Pete Davidson, and they're huge. And so that's a comedy tentpole would be the Wits channel. We
Mhm.
have for
Mhm.
music, we're in partnership with Spin Magazine. Spin has been around for 22
Yeah, yeah.
years. Yeah,
Mhm.
everyone knows Spin, right? So that's that music tentpole. And then in Health, Wealth, and Wisdom, we actually have three channels. We have a channel called Commune, which is really in conjunction with the onecommune.com. It's the Wonderlust people. So content on Commune would be, it's like master classes with Deepak Chopra or Marianne Williamson or Brandon Burchard, um, yoga with Adrian Mishler, who has 22 million followers on
Mm.
YouTube. It's Health, Wealth, and Wisdom served up in various different sort of master classes. And then we have another channel, More You, which is similar because it's also Health, Wealth, and Wisdom, but it's more programs that are a little less educational, more entertaining. So World's Greatest Motivators with Jack Canfield or Les Brown or someone like that. We have reality shows on that. We have something called Fun Tank or Play to Win, which are reality shows in the regular format, but instead of competition, we're promoting collaboration. And
Mm.
the prizes are sometimes $1 million or more, but other times you get to basically double your business or income and work for some of these very high paid coaches, people like Tony Robbins. He's not actually on this program, but that sort of programming. And then Cinema Libre, which is 200 cause-based documentaries and films.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get in that, how you pick and choose that. Okay. AVOD, AVOD. We give our platform partners access to robust content library of exclusive originals and beloved classics across every gate. First of all, I think I know that. I think VOD stands for video on demand.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, really? No, what's the A? What'd you throw the A in for? Why did they throw the A
Well,
in?
video on demand comes in different flavors. So there's
Oh,
AVOD, which is advertising video on demand. So that's video on demand with advertising. Netflix just started doing this. Hulu does this, right? And then SVOD means subscription video on demand. So Netflix in its former state was mostly subscription. So that's SVOD. There's
why? What?
also transactional, which is when you're paying $1.99 a movie or whatever. That's TVOD. So
Oh, Chiva. Oh, I don't have that on there. But they sometimes come. I mean, now they're just going crazy, because before, when Netflix first came out, of course, people lost their minds, and you only pay. I think it started. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was $4.99 a month or $5.99 or something like that. Now we're hitting the $20 range, but I see within the subscription, or am I wrong? Sometimes they have programs where you still have to, they offer them and it says sponsored movies and shows, and then you still have to pay. What does that fall under?
Yeah. So Hulu kind of has that, and it's just another package, right? So you can either get all ads all the time, or some ads some of the time, or no ads all of the time, and it's just different prices for the different
So
selections.
crazy, Jonathan,
Yeah.
because I did watch a movie called the other night, Eternal Winter, and it was on Freebie. So normally they have their little ads, but on this one, it was literally a freebie. There were no ads at all. And I noticed that they're starting to do that, which I'm so excited about, because when I was younger, Jonathan, I could do an ad. The Hallmark commercials, tears coming down. I'm like, oh God, I'm so brilliant. But now I feel my life ticking away. I said, I don't have time. You're taking away. I'll be in the coffin, and there's commercial coming on. I won't get to see the end of it. But I noticed that they're mixing and matching it now, Jonathan, a lot. Is that the new trend now? Because not only do you have to pay the subscription, but they are asking for certain shows to have that. Is that where TV? Should we call it TV? It's cable. Is it cable? What's the TV word?
We call it TV. Anything that you can watch primarily on your television set. Might be cable, might be fast, might be AVOD. I mean, it's all television. Otherwise, you go crazy.
Jonathan, their bill every month is almost up to like $400 for these sports packages and this and that. It's getting pricey. You will have to pump out some children and sell them on the black web, because you will not be able to pay your cable.
Well, you're actually just answering your own question. That's why right now Netflix even and a lot of the services are providing advertising, because it's gotten so crazy competitive with subscriptions, and it's getting to be, it started where it was an alternative to cable and all those high bills.
Right.
And now, it's hiking up. If you get 5 services, which is not a hard thing to do, you're paying almost as much as you were for cable. So advertising kind of offsets that cost for those of us that are providing the content.
Yeah.
And survey after survey says people would rather watch ads than pay for it. Now, that's not all the time, and that's why you also have subscription too. So it's really giving you the choice of, how long do you want to watch that 2-hour movie? 2 hours or with ads?
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's so many good movies and shows on. I'm finding that Netflix used to be like king of the hill, but now Freevee and Pluto and all these other channels are coming in, and they are offering some really good content, Jonathan, I'm finding. So they're really getting competitive, which I'm very happy about. Now, branded app. You have launching 2023. So I'm a little behind there, but launching 2023 is our BEC TV app, a branded streaming app featuring all the best ever channels content all in one place. So first of all, what does BEC TV app stand for? And as I'm reading it, I'm saying, well, you explain, how does this differ from, say, another app that it kind of sounds like,
so BEC is best ever channels. That's all.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? The BEC TV. Okay, so streaming app featuring. So you now have the app where you can go to the app store. You're saying download it just like all the big guys, and you have the content all in one place. How is that? Can you explain how that's different from, say,
so we have 9 channels on FAST, meaning if you go to any television set, Roku, any any platform where you get channels. And the easiest to find us would be just tune into Plex. Plex is like Pluto or Tubi, right?
Yeah.
And they have an option to watch live TV, and that live TV is what are the fast channels that I described earlier, right? Where you get the 200, 300. With Plex, I think you get 350 channels to choose from. We've got 9 of those channels. So we have the comedy and the music, the wits comedy, the spin music, the health, wealth, and wisdom channels I told you about. We have a channel called Trailers from Hell with Joe Dante and a bunch of filmmakers talking about the films they made. We've got a classic TV channel. We have a African American skewing channel called The Grid. We have 9 channels in all, but those are played linearly, meaning you tune in and something's playing, right?
Okay. Right.
So when you take those channels and you create an app like you described, so Netflix is an app, Hulu is an app. Best Ever TV will be. It's actually not launched yet, so we just have to take the 3 and make it a 4. But Best Ever Channels TV, it will be an app where you can go. So let's just say you tuned in to Jack Canfield in World's Greatest Motivators, but you came in 5 minutes into the program, or you just loved it so much you wanted to watch it again. Right now, you kind of have to search around for it, but we're going to put it all in one app. So, and we'll tell you that in the fast channel. So you'll be able to go, oh, wait, I'll just go binge on the series and watch this and everything else. So that's the difference. From a consumer standpoint, you may not know that app even exists if you didn't find us by channel surfing the linear channels first.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to ask real quick, what shows do you have for your classic lineup, classic TV?
Oh my God. You name it, we probably have it. We've got, and we're talking classic. So
Okay.
we have Bonanza, Lucy, Dragnet. I mean, go ahead, name one.
What about my friend Ernest Thomas? He used to play Raj on What's Happening. And do you have What's Happening?
We don't have What's Happening.
Sitcoms?
We don't have all of the old sitcoms because they're sold to other people or other channels have them. But yeah, I love What's Happening.
Yeah, you know what? Search for it. I think it was on TV Land. But I have not seen it. I said, "What's up, Ernest? Where is What's Happening?" And he said, "Well, that's out of my pay range, pretty much." But that would be a good show to look into, to possibly.
Absolutely.
Because you search for it. I don't know. It was on TV Land. Now you can't find it. I don't know. But there's so many great sitcoms that were on. The reason I'm saying sitcoms is because I am a sitcom fanatic in reality TV. So there were so many sitcoms that did not, because remember how, and I don't know if this is still applicable, but remember how you had to make a certain amount of shows before you could become syndicated. I think it was 100 and then or on 5 years. And there were so many great shows that never, for some reason, they were so funny, but they didn't make the cut.
Right.
Hasn't anybody ever thought to put all of those shows who didn't get syndicated, is it possible to put them on their channel so they can be discovered? Because I think that would be a great idea. Because look at that.
Yeah, some of those
shows that are on, Jonathan.
I totally agree with you.
One season, and that's it.
Some of those live in studio vaults somewhere, and you have to find them. And others, maybe with an independent distributor, something of that nature. I mean, we actually found one of those. So when Top Gun came out, the second one, last summer, not this summer, we remembered that there was a sitcom called Pensacola Wings of Gold. I don't know if you remember that. It was sort of like a Baywatch meets Top Gun. Characters were very similar, modeled after, and all top flight footage and that sort of thing. Top Gun, that the whole 9 yards. It went for 66 episodes, so 3 seasons. And
wow, I've never heard of it. Was that in the 80s or 90s?
Late 80s, early 90s.
I
And so we dug it up and found it and put it up, and people
Ah,
watch the heck out of it. It's great. You can actually see it on Plex right now if you want to. It's also on a Vizio. If you have a Vizio TV set, they've got it in on demand. And
wow.
yeah, really cool.
Yeah, that's a
So
great idea. I hope somebody does that eventually, because there's not a party that I go to. I, of course, obviously hang out with most people in the entertainment industry. And we're always talking about, why don't they come up with a channel where they could play all of the old stuff that only made it for a season or two? But I think it's going to happen one day. Okay.
that, and how about all those old movies of the week?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that too. That
yeah,
could be their platform. That could be their shtick, that we are the place you come to if you missed any of it. You watched Frasier, you watched this, well, here we have. And if you can do what most people are doing now, which you're familiar with foreign television, obviously.
yeah.
For example, in England, which I love foreign shows. So in England, if they do 6 shows, Jonathan, a year, that's a lot. They're having a meltdown about doing a 7th show. I have friends that work at BritBox over there, and he said, Priscilla, we can't get actors to commit. They will actually quit the show because that's just the way it's always been. If you get a show to do 7, 8 episodes, that's really a lot. But I heard that might be changing, which I hope. But you're lucky to get 6, right? Is it 6 or something? And in the foreign countries too. I
What's
have a lot of,
happening though is it used to be that we didn't watch foreign programming
yeah,
on television in America that often. Yeah, I mean
right.
it was rarely even brought here, and when it was, it didn't really work that well. But that's changed.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, Gen Z, Gen X. I'm not
Yeah,
Gen X, but
right. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Because the acting,
nobody. The borders have broken down. The dubbing
yeah.
is too good not to watch
Oh,
it,
it is.
and
It
people are
is.
people.
Yeah.
So
So we said, you better just start pacing yourself, because you're going to have to do 7 or 8 episodes.
that's
Um,
right.
yeah, in Australia, there was a wonderful show that was on. But when it moved from doing 6 episodes to 7 and 8, the star got exhausted, and she said it was too grueling. And when she left, it pretty much went to
Can you
it's,
imagine 8 episodes? It's too
I
grueling.
know.
Then
And I think
you
about
look at Canada,
24.
and you look at Heartland, which has like 400, 500,
Yes. And like
endless episodes.
Kiefer Sutherland, who did 24 episodes, and that was nothing to Kiefer. Kiefer could do that in his sleep, but they couldn't keep up with the pace in
Yeah.
some of the foreign countries. But that, I think that some of them are trying to do 24, but they don't want to do it. Okay, so you say that you have personalities and contents that audiences covet. Who would you say that is specifically? Who am I going to covet, Jonathan?
Well, I think Spin Magazine is a good one for that category, right? I mean, everybody wants to be on the cover of Spin.
Mm,
We just did a whole profile on Killer Mike last summer.
mm,
He just won all those Grammys.
yeah.
And we just did a show called 100 Best Rock Stars of All Time.
Mm,
It was on Access for a little while. Now we're going to get it exclusively. So things like that, which you just can't find anywhere. It's sort of like what you were describing with the sitcoms.
mm,
Where is that kind of programming? Well, we've got it, and we're producing it originally as well with Wits, the comedy channel. We just produced an original comedy show with in conjunction with Just for Laughs in Canada, and Tito's Vodka sponsored it. Great comedians, Drew Dunn, Amos Gill. I mean, just great comedians. It was a really, really good show. And, you just, Netflix isn't doing stuff like that. I mean, they have some of the bigger names, but who's breaking comedians these days, right?
yeah,
And then we have
exactly.
format shows as well. So, would you do him? Where comedians are trying to convince other comedians that, they should be considered. I mean, we've just got programming that you don't necessarily find elsewhere. It's produced by Wits is in conjunction with also Angry Buddha Productions. So Angry Buddha is produced for HBO and Netflix and a number of others. It's what you expect for television. It's good, solid content.
Do you have Nate Bargatze, the comedian? If you don't know who he is, Jonathan,
I do actually.
I did not know who the heck he was. I happened to just come by him. You know how when you turn on your TV, it has that huge box that promotes. And I said, well,
he's hilarious.
Great idea. Oh, he's so funny.
The owners of the Stand just turned me on to him. Yeah.
I just found out about him like a couple of weeks ago. Now I've watched everything, and now I feel depleted. I feel just so sad. There's nothing else. So get up.
More to come. Watch.
He's fantastic. I love him. And clean comedy. I'm so sick of the nasty, dirty, that been done comedy. Just some good family, wholesome comedy, which he does. And if you can do wholesome, clean comedy, that is, in my opinion, a true test. And I have a lot of friends who are celebrity comedians, and they say we're dark, Priscilla, we're moody, we're usually depressed.
The best comedy just tells it like it is. And let's face it, life can be pretty dark and depressive sometimes.
Yeah. He said, Priscilla, that's what you're going to get. I said, well, no, because I've discovered Nate Bargatze, and he doesn't have to do that. So please. So I like what you said here about you offer conscious media for the masses. What did you mean by that? I think I know what the meaning is for me, but is it my Nate Bargatze clean whole comedy?
He'd fit in the category, right? So nothing against Jerry Springer, but maybe not as conscious, throwing chairs at each other and what have you. And for the longest time, there just wasn't any alternative. Yeah. So our goal is to give you an alternative, right? So you could watch Jerry Springer, he's there and fast, or you could watch Jack Canfield tell you about how to write and publish a novel, how to talk about the law of attraction with Lisa Nichols, or you can get or any one of these reality programs that's reality, it's competition, it's just as interesting as any other reality show, only instead of stabbing people in the back, you're actually rewarded for boosting people up. And that's what you're aspiring to, rather than sort of the lowest common denominator, which there's an audience for it, but we just want to give you an alternative.
Jonathan, I do love my 90-Day Fiance. Of course, there's other people. There's like 10 different they've broken off into 10 different segments now, where there's so many different, and there will always be an audience for that, because we want to live vicariously through other people's lives. And I'm going to confess, and you would be shocked at who watches this with me, who very well. We used to, it's gone now, Teen Mom and Unwed Mom. We would watch it, and we just learned so much. I watched them not for the hair pulling. I don't want to see anybody pulling anybody's weave out or pulling off their clothes. I watch it because there is a huge audience, which I'm hoping that more people realize, who are the powers that be, that ordinary people want to watch how other people live, not necessarily for the drama and the hair pulling and the cheating but if you did not grow up around those people, if you were not familiar with them, you learn so much. I mean, when I watched Honey Boo Boo, I had no idea you could put any damn hot dogs in spaghetti. I'm like, what? Hot dogs and spaghetti? And I tried it. That's not working for me. But the point is that there is so much much that you can learn from other people's lives that if you did not grow up around people like that, and vice versa. So I just hope that people see it from that perspective, because I get a lot of flack, Jonathan. People say, oh my God, you watch 90 Day Fiance, you watch reality TV. It's like the dregs of society. But no, it is not. They are people like you, and you better be careful, because the people you see on your way up are the same people you're going to see on your way down. So I hope that more reality shows come on, because right now all we have is 90 Day Fiance, Jonathan. So please bring us some more.
But even on 90 Day
reality.
Fiance, they were talking about the law of attraction and some, the things that are trending now that I think it's time to sort of lift up a little
Yeah.
the lowest standard of.
Wait, what do we got though, Jonathan? What can you offer us, honey? That's all we got on the air. They took off our teen mom and our unwed mothers. Now 90 Day is all we have for people who like that genre of stuff. So I'm gonna look to you to pull us out of the trenches,
I will
Jonathan.
pull you out of the trenches.
Pull us out. Give us something good. Now, you had wanted to talk about where TV is going. Now, everybody has an idea of where it's going. Somebody said, oh, it's hell in a handbasket. And other people are like, oh, no, they've got to be thinking of new ideas. So what do you think is going to be happening with TV? Has everything been done?
Well, in terms of the programming itself, everything's never always done. I think that there's and then there's remakes. I mean, there's a lot of places the content can go, but the first thing I want to answer is, where's the experience going?
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems in terms of TV right now, the reason why you may not find What's Happening or all those old sitcoms you loved is because you got to scroll through 300 channels.
Yeah.
And then it's got to be playing when you're scrolling, or you've got to find it afterwards. And so there's, when I was growing up, not to date myself too much, there was this thing called the TV Guide, and came out every week, and you'd even get to read about what was coming, right?
Right. Yeah.
And now it's just sort of like, well, wait a minute, I was just watching my Vizio TV and it had these 200 channels, and now my LG in the bedroom has those 200 channels, and Netflix has other channels. Yeah, how do I find all this stuff? And what I think is about to happen, if it's not this year, it's in a couple of years, is that AI is going to take that process over for us, and you'll be able to say, whoever you name your AI to be, right? Priscilla, bring me What's Happening, and Priscilla will come back with three seasons of What's Happening, and you'll be able to find it. But even if you don't know what it is, and you're like, I want a sitcom, I like 80s sitcoms, I like something with an urban feel, but kind of just comedy and mindless, and then and that's what you can't do today, but you will be able to do, I think, very, very soon. One of the companies we're working with is working on a platform to give you television snippets in the way that you might get snippets on Instagram. So you know how it is. You wake up, or you pick up your phone, and you're just gonna see what's on Instagram. You've got 5 minutes before dinner, and then 5 hours later, you're still looking at things.
Oh yes.
Because the algorithm has found you, right? Well, I think that's going to happen on television as well. So so one of the things I know is coming is short snippets of your favorite programs, served to you in a format that you can then just keep scrolling through the same way that you might scroll through social media. They're always talking about virtual reality and augmented reality. Apple just came out with the new glasses. Sooner or later, that'll kick in to some degree.
Yes, it is.
But what is happening is, look at the Writers Guild just went through a whole AI conversation with everyone else in Hollywood, right? Is you're going to see, when it's approved, talent that maybe isn't around anymore showing up in, your favorite sitcom, or you're going to see programs and program formats be reinvented with new characters, maybe not even real characters. A lot of this is going to happen, and personalization, I think, is inevitable. So
Yeah,
you
I
won't
mean,
you
look
won't have
at
to scroll
Princess
through 300
Leia.
channels.
Look, did you see that the Star Wars movie where they had Princess Leia, and I thought it was a real person. It was AI, Jonathan.
Yeah.
And then that you just saw the Indiana Jones movie where they had him young. I could not believe it. It looked the CGI or AI. I don't know what you would call it,
It's a
but
combination. The
the
technology is
it's
amazing. Yeah.
and I don't know what those I worry for the future of the actors because they I I see that there's going to be a fork in the road in years to come, because if they can create characters, I mean, the studios, let's just be honest, there are people, there's temper tantrums, personality problems, there's all kinds of stuff that can happen. But if they have AIs and they have the CGI, they'll never have a problem with that. It's just going to be there. And to make them look so real like they can now, I wonder what the future is for, for actors. And that's something I'm very interested in, because when you see what they can do now, imagine, Jonathan, what they can do in the future. And I have friends who said, it's going to make our life so much easier, Priscilla, when we can just do it with AI, but don't tell any of the actors. They'll string me up. And I think that might possibly be very real within the next 50 years or sooner. But yeah, my husband, like you were talking about the glasses, he has that big Apple virtual thing that he puts over his head, and he likes to go into a movie theater and watch his movies inside the world of the virtual
Isn't
reality.
that, yeah. Well, and it
And
becomes gamified as well, because you're
yeah.
actually meeting other people doing that.
Mm-hmm.
It mimics reality, but it isn't reality. Touch becomes something of a
Yeah.
commodity. I was just in an AI conference where the people from the industry were talking about the ethics of it all and what's going to happen. And there was an artist in the group, and she brought up a really, really interesting point. She said, we've had all kinds of technology for eons, right? She was
Yeah.
a draftsman. She was trained to be a draftsman, and they used to exercise by drawing straight lines and then drawing circles. She goes, and then you can get your coffee mug and draw a circle, but it takes the challenge out of it. And what we've forgotten as a human race is that the challenge is what gives us the meat. I mean, we all want
Yeah.
it to be easier, but do we? Because when it's easier, are we really growing? Are we really learning? And I think, from a tool standpoint, being able to create so much faster, so much more vividly with AI it's inevitable. It's happening already. It's
Right.
it's it's duplicating on itself as we speak. I mean, it's more
Right.
capable now than when we started an hour ago.
Right.
But that being said, um,
It's
what can
lonely.
we innovate from there? Yeah,
So
yeah.
many people who are young children, they they love the technology, but at some point they've immersed themselves to the point where they are becoming lethargic, where they're just sitting around and they're just, and then they complain about being lonely, and that's a whole sad situation that I'm not going to talk about. But the AI world and the virtual world, while it is fascinating, it does leave our young people learning to become isolated, I think. And I don't know where that's going to end
Well,
up, but
I think it's a little bit even worse than just the isolation is the dopamine hit that you're getting when you're scrolling through Instagram
mm,
tells your brain that everything's fine, but your
yeah,
body isn't fine. And there, we had a Shaolin monk on one of our programs. I don't remember Kung Fu.
Yeah.
Those are the Shaolin guys, you know, the
Oh, yes.
able to do amazing, incredible things, you know,
Right.
send people flying with
Yes.
from 5 feet away, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he was saying, you know, look at whatever you do, don't forget to stay and to practice being in your body, because that's where it all begins and ends.
Yeah.
And so hopefully, you know, that will become clearer and clearer to us as, yeah, like you say, kids are just sitting in their basements, you know, getting the dopamine hit, but not getting the fulfillment that comes with challenge.
Are you going to meetings with other people in your peer group, or maybe futurists? Are they concerned about how to program so that they stay out of the danger zone? I mean, what's being talked about with the programming? Are they saying, "Ah, well, that'll come after I'm out of the business and retired," or are
No,
they
I think
concerned
everybody's
about it at all?
in this symposium I was just in. I was telling you about, there was a couple of producers of popular programming series that are on the air right now, and it's controversial. I mean, they know they can't ignore it, and that it needs to be part of the program. I mean, the Writers Guild strike was all about trying to slow it down,
Yeah.
which, you know, you can only succeed at so far. Um, but there's a lot of concern about how do you, if you can't slow it down, how do you use it in a way that improves life rather than, you know, that
Right.
scares you. We had one of the comedians on that special I was telling you about on Wits, talking about AI, and he said, "Yeah, my girlfriend's daughter was talking to Alexa and ordering something, and she said, 'Thank you, Alexa.' And my girlfriend said, 'You don't have to say thank you. It's a machine.'" And I
I
said,
do that. I do
"Oh,
it. I
when
do
they
it.
start taking over, you're not going to be in a good place."
You better
He
be
he
nice
he,
to them.
he
Yes,
says
and do
he says
you
I
think
ask ChatGPT every day if I can write something for it.
I know it's crazy, but I just the voice has become so real, and it does so many great things for us. I always say
I'll
thank you,
tell you what.
Alexa. Thank you. And she says you're more. You know what she says, but I
I'll tell
say
I'll
it.
tell you what I think it is. I think that what will save us as a human race, if anything does, is remembering that it's the heart and the brain together that
Right.
make us human. It's not just the brain. It's not just intelligence,
Right.
artificial or otherwise, and not just thinking. It's not just the mind. It's the heart.
Right.
It's the way we connect. It's the empathetic way we can feel for others, and that needs to be built into everything that we do.
Yeah,
Um,
I was thinking the other day because I'm an idea person. Even I come up with the ideas, but I never do anything with them because I'm like, somebody will do it. Because it does it. If you want to do something and you're an idea person, you'll do it. If you just like to come up with the ideas and you don't want to do it, that's it. But I was thinking about you coming on the show, and I thought, I'm going to ask him, does Jonathan have any plans to add in his programming? Maybe like they had Sesame Street, of course, that taught all kinds of things that you needed a child to know. Do you think it would be good if somebody came up with programming to add to their platform that taught children? I know it might be too soon, so it might sound crazy, but taught children how to live and learn and respect AIs in the future? Is that crazy? Do you understand what I'm saying? If
well,
it happens, you should always be, and maybe some
yeah, I think
practical.
the danger with AI, as much as with anything else, is that we forget how to do things for ourselves
Right,
in the pursuit of ease and convenience. We stop challenging ourselves. We forget, you know,
right.
how to do things. And I was just talking to someone today who has some content for us for the More You channel, and he's a coach in what he calls conscious communication,
Hmm.
which is communicating from a place of empathy, from a place of deep listening.
Hmm. Hmm.
There's just skills that, some people learn in life, some people never learn, some people you want to hit over the head with to learn. And he's like, why aren't we teaching this in schools? And
Yeah.
and he's creating a company to get grants and what have you to try to really get his curriculum into the schooling system. I think that's important. I think
Oh yeah.
teaching our young people how to be human outside of just the machines and the rote sort of information that's out there. Information is a commodity now,
Right.
but consciousness is much more than information.
Right.
It's how you interact. And if you talk to some of the Gen Z younger group, they're there.
Yeah.
They're thinking that way.
Are they? But well, I think that my husband used to always joke and say people should have licenses to have children, because a lot of people who have children, they are, and by necessity, they have to work 2-3 jobs. They don't necessarily have the option to be a June and Ward Cleaver situation where you're there with the children teaching them. Now, Beaver, that's not morally correct or ethically correct. And I was just thinking that in the future, with the AIs, which I think is an eventuality, I think that they should teach them to be able to coexist and not abuse, because if we have a Terminator Skynet situation, you want your AI to like you and go, no, we will not kill Priscilla. She said thank you every day. So something like that. And then
You'll be one of the saved few.
Yeah, say I gotta save the AI, but to teach them also, because I don't know if you noticed this, but a lot of people, grown people, cannot even, we don't have it anymore, but they can't even balance a checkbook. They know nothing about finances. They don't even know how to do common sense things. And I always said, I think that they should start teaching children basic math fundamentals about personal stuff, like how do you budget, learn about stocks. And people think I'm crazy, but this is the reality.
No, you're not crazy at all.
If you taught them when they're young, then they would know about it. Am I right, John?
Credit. Who teaches you about credit?
Right.
I believe that all that is critical. It's key to keeping a culture in community, and that's really what it's about.
So maybe there can be a channel where there's a show that updates Sesame, what's it, Sesame Street, but teaches them about how children, first grade. Let's see you manage that checkbook, son. But like with all those, how are you going to budget? We're not buying you what you want. So how are you going to get the money to do sales? I just think basic common sense stuff. If you start the children, I think there should be a show, but I think that there's one, Dora's Explorer is a really good, and they have some really good programming, but I think they hopefully they'll bring some more in, because we need the children to take care of us, Jonathan. They're going to stick our asses in the damn old folks home. And they're going to kick us to the curb.
It's scary there.
It's scary there. So maybe that could be something where they teach us. Don't put your old people in a home. Let them live.
I always thought they should build daycare centers for kids right next to the daycare centers for adults and mix them together, right? Give the elders purpose. We don't have any respect for the knowledge and the wisdom that exists with our elders. That So
it's a shame, Jonathan, but I think you're going to solve the problems of the world with your channel. So let's get that going. Now you are launching a TV channel in the new world. Did we talk about that? Because we're talking about that right now. But do you see a big major difference? Because I imagine that you seem like an extremely intelligent person, so you would know how the old way was of launching. I would think it's so overwhelming. I mean, my brain would explode if I even thought about it. But you know the old way. What's the new way? I mean, if a person, say for example, Jonathan, all right, a person is watching this show, he's 16 and he wants to do what you want to do, you're doing. What advice would you give him about the new way to launch?
Yeah, the more, and in fairness, there's only just now bringing in teachers, people like myself, to explain even to the college students how things have changed and how it works right now. So, in some senses, there's more opportunity than ever before because technology has made it such that rather than just Comcast, Time Warner, or the cable companies choosing everything that goes on, if you have the resources and know how to do it, you can launch a channel. That's not to say that the average 16-year-old can learn enough to do that by the time they
Mm,
graduate college, but knowing that that's possible and finding companies like a Best Ever Channels or a Cineverse or people like that who are independent and doing that sort of thing is probably a smart thing for a young person who wants to get involved in this to learn. It's not just about YouTube and creating something on your phone. Hey, you know people are making a lot more money than me doing that on a regular
yeah,
basis, but the other problem with that is you're beholden to the algorithm. They change the algorithm, your income can be cut in half overnight. And so yeah, my belief is that, and we're creating a platform where you can sell product. You can take your fan base from another platform like an Instagram or a TikTok and port it over to our platform where those fans can interact with each other, or they can, you don't have to be on somebody else's social media platform, where you can watch like programming. So I would say it's important for anyone who really wants to have an impact in this to think about all the various different ways that video comes to you these days. It's not just on YouTube. It's not just on your phone. It is on television sets, but it's not, just on Netflix. There are all these fast channels. There's a number of different ways that people are getting the content. So if you can figure out what your niche is, what your sweet spot is, what your real interests are, that's always good, the best place to start.
what classes would you say a high schooler should be focusing on when they start college that are absolutely mandatory? Just maybe three classes that would help them if they want to launch their own channel in the future.
Well, for lack of college catalog in front of me to pick classes for
I
them,
would say media communications,
I would say
right?
communications. Focus on
Social,
distribution. Everyone talks about how content is king, which it is, but I
yeah,
always say distribution's queen. What does that
yeah,
mean? It's like, how are you getting these programs? Because that's just as important as the programs themselves. And in fact, in some ways more important. Why is what's happening not able to be found? Well, that doesn't have the distribution.
yeah.
So take classes on communication, take classes on distribution, take technology
Mhm.
seriously, learn as much as you can about AI, play with it, use it. Um, and it used to be that computers learned about one particular aspect of technology, but never all of it at once. AI is learning all of it at once. So you've got, you can
So,
go on Discord and, create an entire reality, and in some ways a fake one
yeah,
overnight. Um,
the deep fakes.
yeah. So learn technology, but don't get lost in the consuming of it. ask
Yeah,
ask yourself, what's behind this? How can I take this and take what my heart's telling me to do, and marry
yeah,
those together? And then just
yep,
find people that are doing it and ask them a ton of questions. And you
yeah.
know
Because children, I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with this, but there are serious students who want to make a life for themselves in the entertainment industry in social content and distribution, but they are so stressed out. It's 15, 16 years old because they go to, for example, they go to guidance counselors, they talk to people, what classes should I take? And it turns out the guidance counselors don't really know what the heck they should take. They are not informed, they don't know. They're older people, they just don't know. So are there any tips that you could give them? I mean, I try to tell them to just go to people who already have the job and ask them, but it changes, as you said, so fast. It's kind of hard
Well,
to
go
lock
on to
down
LinkedIn
LinkedIn. Yeah,
and search the
I did.
companies. Find read the trade magazines that we're reading, the streaming magazines, the broadcasting and cables. I think my biggest education came from just reading the trades on a daily basis. I still
Ah,
do it, right? We all do
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
industry. So go online and start reading. And like any, I just started jujitsu
Ah,
a year ago, and they say the first year is just getting your butt kicked, which is
yeah.
pretty much what it is. You don't have any clue how
Right.
it's happening. It's happening.
It's happening.
So jump in and read about AVODs and fast and all this stuff that makes no sense, but just keep reading it. It'll start making sense, and you'll start
Right.
putting pieces together. You'll start realizing, oh, when so-and-so bought such and such. I mean, Alan Walk is a great one to read because he explains why this matters at the end of every article. Um,
Alan Walk.
Walk, WOLK,
Okay.
TV Rev.
Okay.
Um, yeah, and just keep at it. And then, with social media, LinkedIn even inclusive, you can be a
Right.
friend of a friend. You can reach out to these people,
Yeah.
and a lot of them will answer you back.
And don't stress yourself out because people can smell desperation a mile away. What will give you, my little tip is what will give you an advantage when you do go for that internship or the job is having, as you talked about, Jonathan, the human contact, the human skills to be able to socialize. So many of our young people, Jonathan, are having a really hard time socializing. It's not natural to them because they grew up on the cell phone, on the computer, and they live in that world. And that will give you the advantage, being able to have the technology and the skills, but also be able to
Look,
talk about
look up
personal
conscious communication and learn
conscious.
everything you possibly can. I'm not saying this to Priscilla so much as to the people you're talking about that want to learn,
Right.
because that's uh, and I know you've experienced this as well. This level of service that used to be at any restaurant,
Oh,
any phone call you made is just degraded completely. Well, that's an opportunity.
yeah.
And with no blame applied, blame it on culture and how
Yeah.
we've forgotten how to communicate with each other, but learn it. If you can
Yeah.
learn to be a service oriented person, today's culture teaches us take,
Yeah.
get,
Yeah.
have. That
Oh,
what it's really about is give. When you give, you
right.
get. uh,
It is.
but you
It's
don't
true.
hear a lot of people talking about getting
No.
through giving. But if you can be that giver, oh my God, the world will fall at your feet. And if you
Yeah.
can be that service person,
Right.
you're going to be hugely in demand because that's what's sort of falling apart. So it's an opportunity. You look at every challenge as an opportunity.
That's right. And if you don't know how to do it, go get a book. There are so many books. Like there's what's that? I
It,
laughed so hard when I saw something for dummies. How to be a social butterfly for dummies. Remember those books
love
that came
that.
out? Everything was for dummies.
Yeah.
Even,
Well, now
but
all you have to do is Google it, and
Google it. Isn't that something?
or ask
I'm
ChatGPT. You'll get a lot of opinion, right?
right, right. Now you wanted to talk about how I think we talked about this old school meets new school in video. Did we touch upon that? Did you already talk
Yeah, I
about
mean, I think
did you?
that we covered that for the most part. I mean,
Okay.
one of the advantages that my partner and I have is we've been doing this a while, and people forget that history repeats itself.
It does.
So the way that streaming media evolved was almost exactly the same way that
Right.
on demand evolved, which prior to that was digital cable, and prior to that was,
Right.
so that's another tip,
Yeah.
a tip for
Everything is
your aspiring
everyone. Yeah. Jonathan,
entertainment exec.
regurgitating scripts and show. And the thing is that what cracks me up is these young kids that when all the old shows, for example, what was that, Cobra Kai?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
love
yeah.
that show. Cobra Kai came out, and young kids had not seen Kung Fu, I'm sorry,
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid.
Yeah.
And so they were just blown away, and it blew up unexpectedly. But they're taking all the old shows and they're bringing them back. And the new kids, they think they're original. MacGyver. I had a situation with a young person who said, what are you talking about? MacGyver, it's new. What are you talking about? There was no show called MacGyver. I said, I'm telling you, there was a MacGyver. This is a rehash. No, it was not.
Did you know
Look
Paul
it up.
McCartney was in a band before Wings?
No, they don't know that either. They don't know that either. They're like, who's Linda McCartney? Who's Paul? I had a couple say, who's Paul McCartney? Who were like 10. But you expect that if it's not. But there's so much, and I'm afraid that the content is going to run out, not only with our viewing, but also our music, everything that's said. I wonder if it's ever going to be able to be resaid. I don't know. I worry about that. But now your experience, your expertise is from watching TV evolve from 13 channels. I remember we had 13 channels to 100. Oh, there's probably 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1,000 channels now, to digital on demand, and now to streaming. So seeing the advancement, and as we were just saying, history repeat itself. What can you imagine, Jonathan, is something that you're going to bring to your platform that's going to really just rope them in? Oh, we got to watch Jonathan Barbato's best ever channel because what are you going to do?
Well, here's a spoiler alert for your young aspiring entertainment execs. I think the days of creating a singular destination for everyone to go to are over, or dying fast. I think what it is all about right now is spreading the content as far and wide as possible, because not everybody is going to watch content on the same devices. They're not going to watch it on the same platforms on those devices. Whether it's, they may not even watch it in the same country.
Yeah.
You could watch TV in your bedroom and have a different TV in your living room, and it's not the same. So spreading the content as far and wide, getting that distribution to be as broad as possible is really the answer. And marketing with the people that love the content and have them do the marketing with and for you is another part of the answer. So, we don't just feature Natalie Cuomo is a young comedian on Wits who has a huge TikTok following. So she'll talk about us on TikTok, and they'll find us on Plex. They wouldn't have found us on Plex otherwise.
Yeah,
and
right.
their TikTok presence will grow because of the people on Plex that found her.
Right.
So really, it's about just getting everything as far and wide as possible, so that discovery becomes easier. The more opportunities.
How do you do that? Because that just seems so intensive, and that you need a whole army of people to do that. Is it?
It's like anything, Priscilla. It all seems overwhelming till you're doing it.
Till you're doing it. That's right. That's true. People think knitting is overwhelming, but until you do it, it's not. It's just going to seem that way. But you feel that now. How long has your channel, Best Ever Channels? How long has it been in existence now?
So Best Ever Channels is the company, and then our 9 channels so the company's been around for 5 years.
Okay.
But my partner and I have both been in the business over 25. So
right.
we jumped in with our feet running, so to speak. The 9 channels have been up for, I think, 2.5, 3 years at this point. Some of them 3, some of them 2. We just launched Spin last year at South by Southwest, so that's only about a year old. Yeah, so
you and your, because you were the big cheese on your little skates. You were the head of former head of marketing for MGM Stars Movie Channel. What would make someone with such prestige and someone at an elevated capacity in life at the elite status? I mean, you're just driving around, your hair's blowing in the wind. You're like, I'm all about myself. What would make you want to leave that position? And would this be like a lateral move for you, or would this be something you would consider upping your game?
When you are in a lead position for a major corporation,
Yeah.
call it their entertainment corporation, so it's funner, but it's still a corporation.
Yeah.
And you're making millions of dollars for the corporation and realizing that you're getting your salary and maybe a little bonus if you can keep your boss happy and his boss happy. And
Yeah.
I'm just not a corporate person. I'm an entrepreneur.
Mhm.
So I wanted to reap the benefit of my hard work
Right.
firsthand, which comes with reaping the risk and the struggle involved. But to me, it was worth it. So I'm an entrepreneur at heart, and that
Yeah.
I always have been. I just didn't know it until I sort of reached the top of my where I could go from a corporate level, and it wasn't it.
You hit your glass ceiling and you want.
I wanted more. Yeah. And
So
also, along with everything else I mentioned comes the ability to innovate,
yeah.
which isn't always there in the corporate structure. The studios, the the owners of the big conglomerates basically wait for the independents to figure out how to make it all, the innovation all happen, and then they just buy us up.
Yeah.
So there's not that innovative there.
Right.
We often, I mean, I had as head of marketing, I had more meetings than I had anything else. We used to joke about having meetings about meetings, but we would actually have meetings about meetings. And it's not all that it would be.
Yeah.
I mean, some people thrive in that. I know
Yeah.
people that work with me still, that that's their jam, and they thrive in that. But I'm an entrepreneur.
Right. And how long did you work in for the man, let's just say for the man, before you decided that you were going to take the leap, jump off the curb, and start your own company?
I never actually figured that out. Probably about 15 years.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
I worked my way up from coordinator to head of marketing. Started at Warner Brothers, went to Sony, a company called Genesis Entertainment that was bought by Fox. And then from there I went to MGM. And then from MGM went to Stars. And then Stars was sort of my last. I was at Stars, and Comcast and Time Warner made Stars and HBO do all the research to figure out how to make on-demand work. So we did. And part of that research was to give it away for free and do a lot of education. And when Comcast and Time Warner wanted the content for on demand, they went to Stars and HBO and ESPN and all the channels and said, hey, give us your content for on demand. And all the channels said, well, how much more are you going to pay us? Because you pay us for our content on the regular cable. And they said, we're not. We're drawing the line. That's it. And so everyone said, well, no. And I went to the head of Comcast and I said, well, what are you going to do? And he said, well, in 3 years, ESPN's contract's up for renewal, and we'll do whatever we need to do to get their business on demand. And when they come, everybody will come because nobody wants to be behind the 8 ball. And that's exactly what happened. I said, what are you going to do in the meantime? He said, well, you did all the research. Bring me a channel that appeals to early adapting men and show me that you have the wherewithal to launch it, and we'll launch it. And that was Ripe TV. So we launched 3 channels on demand.
Wow. And then you were the founder of Ripe TV and Apricot Corp. Now, are they the same? Are they vary a little bit?
No, one begat the other. So after we launched Ripe TV, that was in figuring out how to do online and on-demand marketing at the same time with the same content. And once I developed that skill, I realized all the studios and all the channels were going to need to do the same thing. And so I started Apricot Corporation to be a digital agency to all of those networks. So I worked with 22 different networks. That was what led me to work with Pluto and Tubi and figure out how this whole streaming thing was going to happen. Yeah.
Now, are you still just as excited because you've had your company for a while? Do you still get titillated when you wake up in the morning? You go, whoa, I'm going to rock it out today. Yeah. Do you still excite yourself? Is there, as Beecher said in Star Trek, is this all there is?
I would be so lucky to be in that position at this point. No, I mean, there's so much changing every day and 10 times faster literally than it used to be, that just keeping up is the challenge on a daily basis. And,
so it's still exciting, and you can still foresee there being lots of thrills and chills coming your way.
Gotta
right, Jonathan?
Figure out the next thing before everyone else, so I can.
That's got to be something.
Do that too.
You work with, as you were saying, you work with thought leaders. And I had never put those 2 words together, and I like that. You work with thought leaders like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Deepak Chopra, who doesn't know Deepak Chopra, and Lisa Nichols, and a bunch of others, as you mentioned a couple, to bring more positive video content to the masses. And you can go on and on and on and on. But who do you feel like what do you feel are the boons and the banes of going out there and getting more people to bring that positive content? Like a boon would be like, oh my God, it was so fortuitous that I went to this networking event because I was able to get Deepak Chopra. Oh, I missed going to that event because this person and that person was there. Is there any secret when you are out seeking people to bring for positive content? I mean, what are you doing right now, if that's not a secret? I think you might be frozen. Oh boy, there goes Jonathan. Oh, he froze. But he froze looking good, though. That's a good freeze face. Okay. Well, we just lost our beloved Jonathan Barbato, but I think we were close to the end of the show. And he wrote a book. I wanted to talk about that. That was the last thing I wanted to talk about. He wrote a book, which is about the planning of our lifetime, in between lives, and how it all works. Fate versus choice. That would have been so good, right? To talk about with Jonathan. We're going to have to bring him back on either later this year or next year and see how the book is going. But I really hope that everybody got what they needed. And we want to thank you, Miss Beatrice Davis. She is the one that brings some of the most fabulous guests like Jonathan Barbato. And we want to thank him so much for gracing us. I hope he gave everyone wonderful, sage information. And if he didn't, you go to his website. There he is. I was holding it down, Jonathan. I locked it down.
I don't know what happened.
It down. I was just saying, well, we were going to talk about his book next, and he wrote a book. So now you're here. You can tell us. You wrote a book which is about the planning of our lifetime, in between lives, and how it all works. Fate versus choice. Tell us the name of the book. What was your motivation and inspiration, and where can we get it? Amazon. No, go ahead.
You can't get it yet. It's not published yet. So you're scooping some future marketing.
or inspiration for?
My inspiration was a very ugly divorce where I finally was able to reconcile my uh, emotional growth through that by realizing that my ex was doing me the favor of teaching me how to stand up for myself in a way that I never had before, how to be a better version of myself. And
Oh,
that, we must have been up in heaven somewhere planning this lifetime. And the angel said, okay, who volunteers to be like a total enemy of this guy? Because that's what he's going to need to learn this lesson. So I always look at life from the perspective that it's happening for me, not to me, no matter how bad
oh,
things get. And, that's a challenging way to live, but it puts the power back in my hands, because if I can find the lesson in whatever's happening, then I can grow. And so the book is called Hacking Paradise, and it's about Finn, who's up in heaven in paradise, having a great time, meets the love of his lifetimes, and she says, "Hey, you going back down for another round?" "I am." And he's like, "Why the hell would I ever want to do that? It sucks down there. It's hard." And so the whole book is him and her and his guardian angel talking about how it works and how it's all happening for us. We make these choices. It doesn't seem like it in the lifetime, but you made the choice before you got there. We're all on purpose in one way, shape, or form. And if you can get onto that purpose and stay onto that purpose, then life actually fits into place. And my life personally, I mean, the best ever channels came about completely by me following my heart and my soul rather than my strategy and fear. It's really when you can focus on anything's possible, and it doesn't take away the fears. It just makes them into the GPS that takes you to where you need to go. When
yeah,
when you can get to the point where you say, "Oh, I'm afraid of this," which means I'm holding myself back in this way, which means I'm blocking my own way. How am I blocking my own way? Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's hard, but when you figure that out, then you just take it out of the
that's
way and boom.
right. There are people. I guess this is what I was taught in my household, but uh, it actually, I think, I don't want to commit to it, but if you Googled it, you would find that there is a large amount. There are many, many people that say that when you are conceived, from the moment of conception, 50% of your personality is already destined. Your fate, you're destined. The other 50% comes from your socioeconomic background, what kind of parents you get, what kind of choices that you make based on your absorption of your environment.
So here's a question for you.
What
If
do you think about that?
Well, I think it's true, but I have a question that arises for me. So if half of me is predetermined and the other half is determined by my environment, then who am I?
Yeah, that's the big question.
And
Do you think,
I'm not either of those. I'm not even the personality that I'm generating from. It's just the vehicle that
right?
some other deeper eternal aspect of me is using to learn whatever this life's lesson is.
Yeah. I've always been confused by that a little bit, but you got to look at it from either an evolutionist standpoint or a creative standpoint. So, did God say, "Okay, we got Jonathan coming up and he's going to be doing this," or did they say, "Well, I wonder what he's going to do. Let's give him a little sprinkle of this, a little sprinkle of that, and see what happens." So, I guess we'll never
I
know.
think it's
But
both, and that I would say is the theme of the book that I wrote.
oh my gosh, see, I didn't even know that. And I already psychically know that's the theme. So that's a good book. That's a good read.
So when it comes out, I'm going to have to get back on your show so you can tell everyone.
Oh yeah, please, we'll promote that. But I want a signed autographed copy of that. What do we do we have any dates, like anything? How are you doing all you're doing without getting writer's block? Now, come on, Jonathan. What are you nipping over there out of the cup?
Here's my writer's block tip. So I write every day. I wake up at 5 a.m. It's the first thing I do. I don't go on social media. I don't pick up my phone. I write. And what I do is I write for an hour, and sometimes that turns into 2 or 3 hours, but I write for at least an hour. And the last 10, 15 minutes before I'm done for the day, whether it's an hour or whatever, I write a short paragraph on what I'm going to write the next day. So then I don't have to go back in the morning and try to figure it out and wake up first. And nope, I got, oh yeah, that, okay. And then I can catch right up and then I write.
Wow. That's a great tip for writers as well. Yeah. Screenwriters, novelists.
Look at this, writer pro tips and career tips. And
you are giving it all.
By the way, my battery's going to die in 9.
You're out of here in 1 second. I have one more question before you leave. If you could go back to when you were 18 years old and give yourself advice about the career you've chosen, what would you say? What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Don't worry about it. Just keep going. Just do everything, just whether it's seemingly working or not. I mean, my career has taken so many left and right turns that at the time felt like I was off track or it was never going to work out. And they all, when you look back at it, you're like, oh, that would have never happened if that didn't happen. And that would have never happened if that didn't happen. So I would say, trust whatever's happening, see your goal and focus on the goal and go forward to the goal and persist to the goal. But whatever happens, even if it seems like it's 180 degrees from the goal, just trust it and just keep going.
That falls into my belief of the 50% that you're given destiny. I'm going to end with my thing. So if we want to find out more about you and your channel, besteverchannels.com.
That's right. Besteverchannels.com.
Besteverchannels.com. Now, when I go into the living room, what am I going to do to pull up something of yours? Where do I go right now?
On your TV set?
Yes.
Yeah, go to Plex, Plex.
Okay.
If you don't have the app, download the app, but get onto Plex and then click on the selection that says Watch Live TV.
Okay.
And then under that, you'll find all 9 channels. They vary from person to person because it's an algorithm. But look for WITZ or Spin.
WITZ or
WITZ. Spin, like spin a record. SPIN. Commune. More You. I can list them all actually. Grid or The Grid. Best TV Ever. Yeah, Trailers from Hell.
That's where I'm going.
Go there. I can just tell you'll love it. Action has a lot of great stuff on it.
You had me at Trailers from Hell. You had me. You know I love my
Dive Deep. You'll love it. It's one of our best watched channels. I mean, people love it.
Well, I can't wait. I hope you come back when your book comes out and we'll talk about how the book's doing and we'll talk about how the channel's doing and we'll just chop it up, Jonathan. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Go look.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Ciao.
You're listening to Question Reality with Priscilla Leona.